What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. Today is Tuesday, March 7th, and I am joined today by my co-host, Eric. My name is Will. Eric, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good this morning. I'm ready to kick off our second video of this series of our draft combine recap.
Hell yeah. If you guys missed the first one we were talking about the tight ends and quarterbacks, so make sure you check that one out if you want to hear our opinions on how, the combine affected a lot of the quarterbacks and tight end prospects. This video is going to be primarily on the running backs and wide receivers. Those are the position groups we're going to be taking a look at. We're going to kick it off with the running back group, and we're going to start off like we did with the last one with the biggest name, Mr. Bijan Robinson, and just how excited I am to see this guy. We were worried about, his 40-yard dash time. We were wondering where he was going to clock in at. We thought he was going to clock in around like the low 4.5s, high 4.8s. He actually ended up clocking in around like the
high 4.4s.
High 4.4s.
Yeah, high 4.4s.
Jesus, I said high 4.8s. But he ended up clocking in like the mid 4.4s. Ended up getting the 4.46, which is very encouraging going forward. Bijan, again, one of those guys that can kind of do it all. There's not really much to talk about except for the fact that he clocked in faster than I thought he would, which is just more encouraging to add on to an already great player.
Yeah, I don't know that he necessarily did anything to improve his draft stock, but it was already through the roof. He certainly didn't do anything to hurt it. I thought he looked fantastic in all of the drills. He looked super smooth. Footwork was great compared to all the other running backs. He looked like the cream of the crop. This isn't a knock, but I don't think he was like the generationally freaky athlete that some people thought that we were going to see out of him. He came in lighter than expected. We thought he was going to be like 220. He came in at 215. And we've seen guys like Saquon weigh in at 230, or JT even weigh in at 230 and run faster 40s, jump higher in the vert, jump further in the broad. Not that that matters. Like, Bijan is still the locked in best running back in the class by far. He's still going to be amazing. I think he's a generational prospect and talent, just maybe not a freaky athlete the way that we thought he could be.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, like, his actual talent on the field and his just knowledge of the game and his traits that he has on the field in terms of his position traits, like just being able to run the ball, his vision, his footwork, his ability to catch, that's the stuff that's elevating him. Athletic wise, like you said, he's not the most impressive guy we've ever seen by far, but in terms of just what he's able to do with what he's got is what makes him as high of a pick as he is.
For sure.
Yeah. Looking at the next set of running backs, we can go ahead and talk about Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs as well. Somebody else who's like the RB2 of this draft. Came in at 199, 5'9". How do you feel about Jahmyr Gibbs here?
Yeah, I was going to ask you the same thing. 199 isn't terrible. I was really nervous we were going to see something in like the high 180s. I was worried we were going to get, shocked by a really low number. So that's encouraging, but I guess the hope at the high end was that he was going to get closer to 210. He wasn't that. But when you go out there and run a 4.36 in the 40 at 199, that quells a lot of concerns. That was definitely faster than I expected from him. And again, I think he looked incredibly smooth in all the drills, like separated himself from a lot of the other backs in this class.
No, I absolutely agree. I think he looked good, especially as a receiver. And then, NFL.com going to keep pushing the agenda with the Alvin Kamara comp. Still not the biggest fan of it, but I guess I kind of see it a little bit.
It's close enough.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
So before we move on from him, I don't think 199 is terrible. But like, how much do we think that caps his ceiling? Like, what's his touch ceiling in an NFL offense, you think?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be a workhorse.
He's not going to be a workhorse by any definition of the word. I don't know, man. It's going to be one of those. He's definitely going to be a change of pace back, I feel like, in terms of receiving, stuff like that. Or he could be out on the field lined up as a receiver as well. He doesn't necessarily have to be at the running back spot, but I don't know. I feel like it's definitely capped.
Yeah, I think he's incredibly dynamic, electric. He's clearly got the speed. We knew he had the agility. He's got the receiving talent. So he's worth the pick. But I think he's probably capped at 15 touches in the NFL. We just got to hope that he goes to a good landing spot where those 15 touches can be efficient and really useful.
Yeah, I agree, because it's not the most encouraging thing to see, but, it's not terrible.
Yeah.
We've seen people in that third down role with 15 touches. We've seen people with 15 touches do extremely well in the NFL, you know?
Oh yeah, for
Because
sure.
even guys like DeAndre Swift, he doesn't get many touches a game, but still is considered an elite prospect, you know? Huh?
Also worth noting, DeAndre Swift weighed in at 212 pounds. It's a big difference.
That is a huge difference. So, it'll stand to be seen, but I'm not too turned away from Jahmyr Gibbs. But at the same time, I still think it's not the best prospect we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Another top prospect we got out here, Mr. Zach Charbonnet. He actually ran a little bit faster than I thought he would. Clocked in at a 4.53. What did you think he was going to end up in the 40? Because I feel like we talked about it and we were saying like high 4.5s.
Yeah, it depended a lot to me on what he weighed in at. He ended up coming in lighter than I expected. He had been listed at like 220. I thought he might be 225.
Came in at 214.
I think came in at 214. I think he slimmed down specifically to be able to perform well in these athletic testing drills, and I'm fine with that. I think he put up good enough numbers. We weren't blown away, but a little bit better than we expected, and good enough numbers to kind of solidify him, in my opinion, as the RB3 in this class.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off over to you. Who do you want to talk about out of the combine performers?
So there's a lot of names on this running back list too, but some guys I want to talk about a little bit more in depth. Devin A-Chain is up there. He weighed in at 188.
Yeah.
I figured that he was either going to weigh in over 190 and like not participate in the drills and then, drop back down for his pro day. Or he was going to come in under that and run fast, which is what he did. So that's fair enough. He came in, ran a 4.32, great speed. I think that he's going to get good draft capital, but similar question to Jahmyr Gibbs, but even more so, do we think he's going to get enough usage with his size to be worth it in fantasy?
That's the thing, man, because that's a small guy, man. 188 is small for a running back. And I don't know how much he's going to be on the field, but at the same time, he is a playmaker. He's a guy who can make big plays happen at any time during a game. So, in terms of how many touches he's going to get, it's going to be low. It's not going to be the biggest thing in the world, but they could be home run touches, but I don't know. It's nothing to be super confident in.
Dream landing spot for him, for me, would be Miami. If he goes to Miami, the checkdowns with Tua and the efficiency of that offense as a whole, the amount of speed that they would have everywhere on the field, I'd be fine if he only got 12 touches a game, but he went to Miami. Yeah,
because it'd be 12 super explosive touches, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sure.
I do like that landing spot.
And then another guy that I wanted to talk about before we just kind of quickly touch on a bunch of these names, unless there's anybody else you want to go in depth on as well, but Roschon Johnson, I wanted to talk about. If any of you guys thought that RJ was going to be a crazy athlete, you're walking away disappointed. But that wasn't something that I was surprised by. I thought he was going to be kind of middle of the road. With his combine results, to me, he compares to guys like Chris Carson or maybe Brian Robinson. And I think he falls somewhere in that range, which is about what I expected. Not a lot changed for me with his performance, but he's probably just outside my top 5 or so.
I have to say, I like the Chris Carson comp because I just feel like he's just a consistent runner, And Chris Carson was also very consistent, and it's still good for fantasy guys. Like, I know these guys, we're not talking about huge names here, but we don't know who's going to end up doing what, who's going to be productive in the NFL, and consistency is a big part of that. So Roschon Johnson could be one of those guys who gets to the NFL and is just a consistent performer. He may not be a superstar, but he could come in and make a difference on the team.
Yeah, for sure.
And then one person I wanted to talk about, this is the last person I really wanted to talk about, then we can go and touch through everybody you wanted to touch through. But Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia, he definitely fell a lot for me this past weekend. Came in and measured at 6 foot 204, but then ran a 4.62. It's
not a good look.
It's not a good look. And even if I know a lot of the big draw about Kenny McIntosh that I talked about even was the fact that he can line up just about anywhere on the field. He can be used as a receiver, this and that. I don't want a 6 foot receiver that runs a 4.6 out there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a 6 foot, not actual receiver. That's kind of receiver that runs slow. It's not a good look.
I don't want that. So he's out of my top 10 personally. I think he might still come into the league and do something, but I'm not I'm not as high on Kenny McIntosh as I was before after, seeing the product now.
For sure. Same. I think he's still going to get decent enough draft capital just based on his receiving ability. But yeah, I'm a lot lower on him now. So yeah, let's run through some of these guys a little bit quicker. Sean Tucker. Why didn't he run? I feel like he could have boosted his draft stock tremendously if he went out there and ran what we expected him to run, somewhere in the high 4.3s, maybe even low 4.4s would have been fine, but he didn't participate.
I guess maybe he didn't want to put an official number on it. I don't know. I don't know why he wouldn't though, but I don't know.
It scares me.
It's definitely concerning because, like you said, why did he do that? He literally just could have ran, but because he was there, right? He was present.
He was there. He was present. He weighed in. I didn't hear anything about it. Other guys that were now, Zach Evans, Kendre Miller, Izzy Abanikanda participate, but that was due to injury.
Right.
Maybe Sean Tucker was injured and we just didn't hear about it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the head scratchers from the weekend. I don't understand why he did that either. I was surprised to not see his name on the list going throughout everything because I didn't know he wasn't going to participate until he didn't pop up.
Yeah, same. So that was disappointing to me. Zach Evans, another big faller in my opinion. He didn't participate, so I don't want to knock him too much for that. He was dealing with an injury, but he weighed in at 202. I thought, like, he had been listed at a few different weights. A bunch of people thought he was going to be lighter, but he had been listed at 210 and 215 for TCU and Ole Miss, and now he weighs in at 202, man. That's really disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know if he slimmed down or if the weights they had for him were just never accurate to begin with. I don't know. But 202 is definitely disappointing because we thought he was going to be, workhorse weight, Yeah. And to find out that he's not great, especially for him. But we have to wait till his pro day to actually see how, I guess, everything's going to go for him. He might come into his pro day and weigh in a little bit heavier, this and that, but I don't know. Yeah.
My best guess is that he was probably slimming down to do well in the athletic testing and then got injured in the process. That's given him the benefit of the doubt for sure. That's speculation, but that's what I'm hoping and also kind of what I'm thinking, because I really do think he was closer to 210, 215.
It does make some sense, though.
Yeah. Kendre Miller makes total sense. He wasn't there. He's still dealing, I think, with an MCL injury that he suffered at the end of the college football season. Not worried about that. He's still high on my rankings. Izzy Abanikanda was injured, but he weighed in at 216. That's a pretty favorable weight for him. I like to see that. Let's run through some of these guys. Tyjae Spears didn't run the 40, which I wish he had done, but looks really good in the drills. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Tank Bigsby weighed in, again, just slightly lighter than I expected him to. I didn't think that his footwork looked great in the drills, but that's not really what I expected to see out of him. He's more of, a speed and kind of like raw power guy, which I think he demonstrated as well at the combine.
Yeah, he's one of those guys I feel like he's going to get into the league and be okay, But with the name Tank Bigsby, sheesh.
That's such a good name for a running back.
Crazy name.
I think Chase Brown helped himself a ton. I think he had a fantastic combine performance, looked really, really athletic. Not a guy that I was super high on based on the film, but I think he's rising up a lot of people's rankings. Evan Hull, another guy that I really liked prior to the combine, and I think helped himself as well. Weighing in, I think, just under 210, which is significantly higher than I expected. That's a good weight for him. Really good receiving back. Keaton Mitchell ran a good fast time, which is what we expected. We like to see that. And then the last guy that I want to talk about, Deuce Vaughn. I think he looked incredibly smooth in all of the drills. His footwork was unmatched by any of the other guys that were out there with him. But when you're talking about a guy that's 5'5", 179, it's just not realistic, right?
That's a special teamer right there if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, like I can't project him to do anything at the next level, which is so sad because I love him as a player. I love him as a talent. He did so well at Kansas State. I want him to be good. I hope he proves me wrong, but I just can't see it.
Yeah, I agree. I just think he's going to end up being one of those guys. He's going to be a special teamer. I feel like it's kind of locked in for him. But yeah, I'm really excited to see him do special teams,
Yeah, I'm excited to see him do whatever.
But we're going to go ahead and move over to the wide receiver position now. That's going to wrap up the running backs for us. And we're going to go ahead and talk about – I actually want to talk about Quentin Johnston first.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And I want to talk about him purely because of where he ended up weighing in and measuring in at. Because we thought he was going to be 6'4", 220 coming into this. I think he ended up
215.
215.
I don't know about 220. But definitely bigger.
Okay. But I think he ended up measuring at actually 6'3", and 6'3", what was it, 209?
6'2" 3/4 and 208. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's slightly disappointing there. It's not exactly what you wanted to see, slightly disappointing. I don't think he's going to take any knocks for it, but it was something I was surprised to see because we did think he was going to be, bigger than he was. But in terms of everything that he went out there and did, the stuff that he participated in, of course, he did do well. The vertical jump was crazy, 40.5 inches. Broad jump also pretty insane, 11 feet. But outside of that, he didn't really participate in too much else. Do you feel like any of the wide receiver rankings have really gotten shaken up at all in terms of?
Well, yes.
Well, there's going to be one guy for sure that moved.
Well, two in my opinion, but one that was the biggest faller.
Okay.
Quentin Johnson for me specifically, it was disappointing that he didn't come in at 6'4", 215, but honestly, it makes a lot more sense that he's this size and is as shifty as he is. Like, it was crazy to me that a guy that was 6'4", 215 was the kind of athlete that he was. But yeah, didn't run the 40. I'm not too concerned about it. Has a huge wingspan. Love to see that. Crushed the vertical, crushed the broad. He did participate in a fair amount of the receiving drills, and I thought he looked really smooth, looked good in the gauntlet. He had that one crazy like fade drill catch where he high pointed it. I think that was from Max Duggan, his college quarterback. So he was probably trying to give him a high ball to show off his talent. And based on one of the guys that we're talking about as a faller, I think Quentin Johnson has now locked himself in as my wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I think so too. Who do you have locked in as your wide receiver 1?
Easily JSN. It's not even a question. He fucking crushed the combine, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So people are going to be concerned he didn't run the 40. And yes, I would have loved to see him run it. It doesn't matter to me.
I don't give a shit about a 40-yard dash time when your shuttle time is beating the next best guy by 0.3 seconds. I do not care.
Oh my goodness, bro. 98th percentile numbers in both the 3-cone and the shuttle. Shout out to David Gautieri. I hope I'm saying that right on Twitter. He's a guy that I follow for a lot of good information. Go follow him. He tweeted out JSN shuttle time of 3.93 was the fastest by any wide receiver since 2014. And the only other round 1 wide receivers to run sub 4 in the past 10 years are Jamar Chase, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham Jr., and Brandon Cooks. That's a good fucking list.
Yeah, that's great company to be in right there. It's just people are worried about speed. It doesn't matter when he's out there collecting soles and ankles. It does not matter.
Damn right.
Yeah.
He looked so smooth in the receiving drills. It was so natural. Separated himself from a lot of the other guys of the group. That even guys that look good, he was on another level. He showed us there's levels to this shit. Like, he is so good, man. I just can't wait to see him in the NFL.
So he's definitely a clear-cut wide receiver 1, I feel like, for this draft.
Easy.
It's easy.
Easy. And has been, but even more so now.
Oh, yeah, because when I saw those times, that is absolutely insane that the next best guy is just so far away.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah. And then the next receiver we can go ahead and talk about that didn't disappoint, but some people were talking about it. He was a big topic of conversation over the weekend. Mr. Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. Didn't quite run as fast as people thought he would. Clocked in at a 4.4 exactly. People were kind of expecting to see him crack the 4.3s. Possibly even crack into the high 4.2s. That was even a possibility for this guy, but he timed in a 4.4, which is still elite speed. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but it's not exactly what people were looking to see. But in the wide receiver drills, he did do pretty well. I know Jalen Hyatt's someone you've been going back and forth on, so I really would be interested to see how you feel about him.
Yeah, so I just didn't love his production profile. I didn't love his tape. He's clearly got speed. He separates from defenders. I've been saying it for a bunch of videos in a row. He's a one-trick pony, in my opinion. He's not super well-rounded, but he's a great deep ball guy. So yeah, I wanted to see him run faster, but 4.4 is not bad by any means. He crushed the rest of the athletic testing, 40-inch vert, 11.3 in the broad. Like, that's nasty numbers. It's really good. I didn't think he looked super great in the receiving drills compared to, his peers at the position. He looked fine. He dropped a deep ball from Levis in the receiving drills, which wasn't a good look because that's his bread and butter. But I'm not looking too much into that.
No, I definitely agree. Comp that I've seen getting thrown around a little bit since since the combine. I've seen a lot of Will Fuller comparisons. Like people say he plays a lot like Will Fuller when he was healthy. I've seen some Deshaun Jackson comps. I don't really see that too much. I don't know if he's a Deshaun Jackson at all.
Those guys are dynamic.
Yeah.
Those guys are game breakers after the catch. Those guys I feel like are more well-rounded receivers in general. I don't really see it.
I absolutely agree with that.
I do think he's going to get high draft capital though, which is worth noting.
I think he's going to get high draft capital. I think he's going to be able to do something with it too. I just don't know what it's going to end up being, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But he's somebody who did come out there. He performed at the combine, slightly underperformed by some people's standards, but still a good prospect at the end of the day. Somebody who did come out there and perform very well that I know you want to talk about, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him up, Mr. Marvin Mims. Yeah. I'm excited to hear you
Easily the biggest riser of the entire combine. It was like, he was a guy that I already loved. He was one of my favorite under the radar guys. I didn't know he had jets like that, man.
I didn't know he was that fast either.
4.38? That's wild.
I didn't know he was that fast either. Like I was expecting to see like Zay Flowers in this range,
Yeah.
But see Marvin Mims there, he's somebody that definitely flew up my draft board because you brought my attention to him. And after seeing the combine, he's, like you said, he's gone up even higher.
Killed it. Yeah, looked good in the receiving drills, smashed the 40, smashed the vert, did pretty well in the broad jump. Weighed in at 183, so pretty good size.
Mm-hmm.
We were a little bit worried he was going to be under 183 is fine to me. I'm gonna say this, and then we got to talk about these guys as well. He catapulted himself into the Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers, Josh Downs tier for me. Josh Addison wasn't in this tier prior to the combine, so if you want to talk about that.
Did you say Josh Addison just now? Which player were you referring to?
Jordan Addison.
Okay.
Jordan Addison he was in a tier above, but then after this performance, I think he drops down a little bit.
Yeah, I think he dropped himself down just a tad. But I don't think, from an NFL standpoint, I don't think any team that wanted him, I don't think this combine performance turned them away from him, But it is a little bit disappointing to see that he came out and ran what he ran. Wasn't quite that fast. Ran damn near a 4.5. 4.49 is what he officially got clocked in at. Vertical jump wasn't amazing. Broad jump also not amazing, but still good, And when you combine that level of athleticism with just the footwork and stuff that he already has, the receiving ability that he has, I don't think it knocked him down too much. But like you said, it is a slight knock for sure.
You're missing one big point of information for me, and that's that he weighed in at 173.
Man, I'm not worried about anybody weighing in at 173 after Devonta Smith, to be honest with you. That was the last time I was worried about it, and I ended up looking like an idiot for that one.
All right. I don't mind you saying that, and I get the mindset.
Okay.
Devonta Smith is an outlier. He's one of the only guys that we've ever seen succeed for fantasy purposes and really in the NFL at wide receiver with that type of body type. A guy that's, kind of tall, 6 foot, and 170. Jordan Addison is not Devonta Smith to me. I like Jordan Addison. I think he's really polished. I think he's good. But he's not Smitty levels of good. Devonta Smith was, some people were ranking him above Jamar Chase, which it wasn't the right thing to do, but he was that level of prospect coming out of college.
That's true. Okay, I can see that. I mean, in terms of talent, right? In terms of wide receiver talent, Devonta Smith is up there, and Jordan Addison isn't that high,
Not quite.
But in terms of size concerns, I'm not super concerned about. I don't even understand what the concern is. Is it that if he gets hit, he could get hurt because he's as light as he is, or what is the concern with the size of a wide receiver?
A little bit about durability, a good amount about how he's going to be able to handle press corners.
Oh, true.
And also just maybe it's overblown. Maybe it's something I shouldn't be worried about. But if you're going to weigh in that light, I want to see you run fast.
That's
and
fair,
he just
too.
didn't do that for me. So That's really all I got with
Okay.
Jordan Addison. He looked smooth in the drills that he did. He's clearly still a really polished route runner. I'm concerned about the weight, I guess, a little bit more than you.
I can understand. I can understand the concern because it's something that it does need to be brought up. It does need to be brought up for sure. But I don't know how much it's really gonna affect anything. That's where I come from on that one.
Yeah, that's fair.
But we got to talk about the biggest faller for the weekend, Mr. Sex Parties himself, Mr. Keishawn Butte. What about this wasn't disappointing is a better question than asking what was disappointing, because we're going to be naming a lot more things that were disappointing.
Yeah, I think even this was disappointing, but probably his saving grace was that he managed to run a 4.5, and that's not even good. He was talking about running a 4.3 prior to actually running the 40.
We thought he would run a 4.3 just based on the player that we saw. We thought we would test out a lot more athletically than he did throughout this entire combine.
My realistic expectations for him were like right about 4.4 flat. I was hoping that he was going to be that, because I thought that's what I had seen from him his freshman and sophomore year. But yeah, to come out and run a 4.5, and then on the second attempt to run a 4.67, and then even worse, bro, jumped a 29-inch vert. That's pathetic.
Bro, I could do that. And that's not even a joke. I could legitimately do that.
Yeah.
That's not good.
It's really bad. It's so bad. 29-inch, like that's nothing. That's nothing. And at wide receiver, like clearly that's a crucial measurement. Like you need that.
Yeah, I mean, you're not looking at him to win any jump balls with a vert like that, you know?
Yeah. So my thing is, we still have yet to get official word on what his ankle injury was that he had at the end of it. And with this type of performance, it makes me think that it had to be on the more serious end, potentially even what some people are speculating that it might have been an Achilles tear. Again, total speculation. We don't know. But for it to completely zap his athleticism and explosiveness the way that it did, like this is not what he would have run freshman year of college or sophomore year of college. He was more explosive than that. That's what I took away from his tape. And he's just not the same player now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's really sad to see, because I don't know where this leaves him now at this point. I don't know if he's honestly, and I know this might be a bit of a weird take, I don't know if he's going to get drafted with numbers like this. Like he very well could.
No.
I don't know, man.
I think that's hot takey. I think that's overreaction.
You think so?
I do. He's going to get drafted.
Bro's looking like a pedestrian out there, bro, but we'll see.
You're not wrong. He's still, in my opinion, I think he looked fine in the receiving drills. He still put enough on tape that freshman year. Like he's a Devi Dynasty darling. Like he was being put in the same range as JSN in all of the years leading up to this. We can't hang on to that. We gotta work with the numbers that we have now. But I think that's gonna be enough to get him drafted. He falls a ton in my rankings, clearly. Like it doesn't even need to be said. But I'm not like all the way out on him yet. I'm hoping that this means other people are all the way out on him, and maybe I can still take a chance, late third round in rookie drafts or something like that. I'd still be willing to take a swing there.
Okay. I don't know, man.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was real bad.
It was real bad. But I mean, he's still got room. If there's any way that he's able to get back to what he was, and be that guy that we think he could be, absolutely. But I don't know, man. We're gonna have to see. Anybody else in this group that you wanted to talk about, sir?
Two more that I want to talk about, significantly, and then some guys that I just want to mention so you have them on your radar. But Josh Downs and Zay Flowers.
Yep.
Josh Downs, a little smaller than we hoped. 5'9", 171. We were hoping he was going to be in the 180s. Not even close. Also ran a 4.48, which is, not bad, but significantly slower than I had hoped and what I had kind of expected. Excuse me. Everything else was great, though. I thought he looked really, really smooth in all the receiving drills. Kind of separated himself in that category, especially in the gauntlet drill. Like he was top tier, top notch. But I'll ask the question again. And I think, maybe we got the answer when we talked about Jordan Addison. But do you think that at 171 he can succeed if he's not a burner?
I do think so. I think there's a lot to be said about, like you said, the way that he runs route. His route running is pretty crisp. And just the confidence that you see from the guy, too. Confidence like that at 5'9", 170. We've seen it before in players, in shorter players that play way above their height. And I think he's one of those guys that's just going to play way above where he's at.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I still believe in Josh Downs. And I think because he's shorter than Addison, like he's 2 or 3 inches shorter, the weight isn't quite as concerning for me. But, you know, I hoped for better.
There is room to bulk up, too. I'm sure the NFL, they'll get him on a nice meal plan. Because he reminds me a lot of, like, Steve Smith. Like, from back in the day. He has shades. Just the confidence that he plays with. The fact that he does play bigger than he is. Steve Smith, 5'9" also. But also Steve Smith was 195. So there is a bit of a difference there in weight. And
that's a pretty substantial difference.
Yeah. But just in terms of play style, he does remind me a little bit of the guy.
I could see it. I don't want people to get crazy overhyped on that, because Steve Smith is a Hall of Famer. That guy's crazy. But yeah, no, I can see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zay Flowers didn't really. I guess 4.42 was enough to probably help his draft stock a little bit. It was kind of, he just met my expectations. Didn't blow me away. 182, good weight. 4.42, good speed. It's kind of it for me.
Yeah, I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. I never really thought of Zay Flowers himself as like a super burner, you know, like he is fast. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. 4.42 is still elite speed. But I've always thought of him more as like a quick guy than anything. He's someone that you get him out in the open field, he can make a couple moves and then use that speed to go once he does that, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah, so I don't think in terms of how he performed, like you said, I don't think it dropped him anywhere at all. I'm still just as excited to see him out there as, you know, I was before.
Yeah. So one more question on these guys that we're talking more in depth about, for Zay Flowers specifically. For me, I think him and Jordan Addison just got a lot closer based on weigh-ins and combine performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to come down to draft capital and landing spot for me that decides the difference between those two. But I'm kind of leaning towards Zay Flowers being ranked above Jordan Addison now. What are your thoughts on that?
I can see where you're coming from there, because I think in terms of big play potential, in terms of the ceiling, Zay Flowers is probably there. I think it's one of those floor versus ceiling type of arguments, because I feel like Zay Flowers is a very high ceiling. Jordan Addison is more of the safe pick because he's great at route running. He's great at all the technical stuff that'll keep him on the field in terms of consistency. You know what I mean? But yeah. I think Zay Flowers is that guy that can come out and make an impact, especially if he lands somewhere that benefits his talents.
Yeah.
So to have those two neck and neck, or even Zay Flowers slightly ahead, I can't knock you for that at all.
Yeah. All right. So we're not too dissimilar there. And then some guys, literally just want to mention their name because they perform at the combine. They're guys that I like as prospects. Charlie Jones, I don't think we've brought him up once, but white kid out of Purdue, ran a 4.43. Really impressed at the combine. Looks smooth in the receiving drills. Raheem Jarrett, I thought did pretty well. Jaden Reed, 4.5, a lot faster than I was expecting. A.T. Perry, a guy that I really like, ran a 4.47 at, what is he, 6'4", 6'5"? He's a big dude, ran really fast. So I like those guys a lot.
Oh, and also my boy, Rashee Rice, ended up clocking in at a 4.41. Yeah. Clocked in a little bit better than I thought he would, a little bit faster than I thought he would. Yeah, 4.41.
Was it 4.41 or 4.51?
4.51. Sorry, 4.51.
Still
4.51. Still
great number
good.
For him.
Still better than I thought it would be. And a 41-inch vert also.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Tied for first amongst wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm looking through this list here, just at the invitees. Cedric Tillman, I thought, had a good combine. And then one guy that I do want to, where'd he go? Tyler Scott from Cincinnati. I think his only way to make it in the NFL was to be an absolute burner. 4.44 is good speed, but I think we needed to see him in the 4.3s.
Yeah, it's a cool, it's a nice angel number, but yeah, we would have liked to see it be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But is there anybody else you wanted to touch on for this one at all?
No, I think that covers it.
Yeah, I think so too. We're going to keep taking a look at these guys, and honestly, there's still a lot of stuff that can change between now and the draft. Don't think that it's over just because the combine's over. There's still a lot of movement going on with these teams, and also, we still got that number one pick out there that's just floating that we don't know where it's going to end up at. So, with that being said, appreciate you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys do all that great YouTube stuff. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you know when we drop our latest videos. And like and comment. It's free and it's the easiest way to get us out there and just to help our channel out and help us grow. Eric, you got anything else for the people before we head out?
Yeah, like you said, subscribe to the channel so that you see the videos that we have coming out. We have updated rankings post-combine. We got post-combine mock drafts coming out. We're doing some roster reviews, Dynasty roster reviews for our subscribers. So if you want to get in on that, you want your roster reviewed, let us know down in the comments below. We're helping you guys out, and you're helping us out by engaging with us. So continue to do that. We appreciate you. But I think that's all I got. So with all of that being said, thank you for watching until the end. As always, we love you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.